playoffs for the better of nearly 20 years. McDermott gets there. They've now made it twice in 3 seasons, clinched with 2 weeks to play. It is still technically alive for the AFC East, but they would need the Patriots to not only lose to them, but also lose in Week 17. Double-digit win season, just a brilliant job with Josh Allen had played better, but very mediocre quarterback play. Great job by my preseason playoff pick, the Buffalo.
Sean McDermott's done a fantastic job. Probably had a little bit, there was a lack of brand awareness on Sean McDermott. A lot of people didn't know who he was, and that unfortunately matters somewhat. So he was flying under the radar, but he has elevated himself into one of the top-tier coaches in the game.
The last time this Bills team won 10 games, Doug Flutie was their head coach.
Was their quarterback.
Was their quarterback, rather. Wade Phillips was their head coach in the Rams. It was a long time ago. You know who else was covering that team back then?
I guess it's General.
As a 19-year-old, feisty
19.
little.
Wow.
Let's move on. Time for stories to start your morning. The Saints beat the Colts 34-7 last night. Drew Brees broke Peyton Manning's record for the most touchdown passes all time. Hey, Brees also went 29 for 30, 307 yards and 4 touchdowns. Nick, how great was Brees' performance?
Really remarkable when you consider the shape Peyton was in when he threw his 539th touchdown, right?
Yep.
It was that last year in Denver, 9 touchdowns, 17 picks. The shape Tom Brady is in right now when he's about to throw his 539th touchdown pass. And Drew Brees is in the type of shape where he can do it in a game where he goes 29 of 30 and plays a essentially perfect football game. It gives you the belief that Brees could extend these records quite a bit because he's still playing at such a high level.
And oh, by the way, had surgery on his hand, his throwing hand, during the season, which he came back faster than the doctors thought he could, which is obviously going to impact your accuracy, but in some sort of superhuman display of strength, he comes back and sets the record, 29 of 30. I'm telling you, there are starting quarterbacks in the NFL today that could not complete 29 of 30 versus no defense.
Versus air.
Versus air in practice. It is remarkable what he's doing.
The only person probably not thrilled for him last night, Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe thought, hey, this could be my team.
Teddy called him the GOAT. Teddy said he's the greatest of all time.
That's when he thought he might hang it up after this.
Teddy's going to get his opportunity.
After losing to the Cardinals on Sunday, the Browns' playoff chances fell to less than 1%. And Freddie Kitchens said he didn't care about his future as head coach. Now, yesterday, Freddie Kitchens clarified the remarks, saying, quote, "Of course I want to be back." Nick, should the Browns bring Freddie Kitchens back?
No, and he knows it. I mean, he'll get paid out, and I'm happy for him, and then he can go back to being what he has been in this league, which is a position coach, not even a coordinator. I don't know that he's going. Usually, if you get fired as a head coach, you can walk into a bunch of coordinator jobs. I don't know that that will happen with Freddie Kitchens. And he knows that. I think that I understand the point he was trying to make on Sunday, which is I'm focused on today and tomorrow rather than the future. But I also wouldn't be focused on the future if the future was as bleak as it is for Kitchens with his current employment.
This has been an absolute disaster. I was a little bit late to the party. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you can learn on the fly, on the job training, so to speak. But it has completely come off the rails. He's even mishandled the media. Like, he doesn't know how to deal with the media. And I get we overanalyze what comes out of your mouth when you're talking to the press, but usually we're talking about first or second year quarterbacks. You know, guys that are maybe new to the magnitude, the fishbowl that you're in. Remember, this is the guy that said, what bullseye? I want a bullseye on our back. I want everybody gunning for us. Well, how's it look now when you actually are a part of that and you've seen how far you've fallen? It is not a good place to be in. And then this is just the latest example. When he can't even, you get the messaging right on whether you want to be back next year, it's just been a disaster. He's in completely over his head.
Yesterday, Seahawks wide receiver Josh Gordon was suspended indefinitely for violating NFL policies on performance-enhancing substances and substance abuse. The league has now suspended Gordon 5 different times for substance abuse. Nick, what do you make of this latest development with Josh Gordon?
It's really sad for him, obviously. The NFL, to their credit, has bent, if not broken, their own rules to try to continue to give Josh Gordon chances because people seem to really like him as a person. He seems to want to get better, and this is just a demon that he cannot overcome, has not been able to. And so I believe now officially his career is over. I am anxious about where this leads for him off the field, because this is someone who, if you listen to his story, for more than half his life, he's been dealing with these issues since dating back to junior high school. I don't know what he does to get right.
It's heartbreaking. It really is. And we were just sitting here marveling at his catch yesterday. You know, he's doing this unbelievable layout catch, and here he is suspended for the 5th time. It's heartbreaking. That's the only thing you can put on it, and you just hope and pray that he gets the help that he needs, or that he comes to the realization that, hey, this is a life-threatening issue, which is probably the scariest thing about it.
All right, the Cowboys picked up a big win Sunday over the LA Rams. It was their first win this season against a team with a winning record. After the game, Cowboys legend and Fox NFL analyst Troy Aikman, who hasn't shied away from criticizing this team this season, talked about just how dangerous Dallas can be.
This was their best team win, and I think Dak Prescott said it best. It was a very complimentary win, and I think the takeaway from this is that what we knew coming into the season, quite honestly, if this team is playing the way that they're capable of playing, we know that they can move the football really against anybody. We know that they have the ability defensively to just smother opponents, much like they did here tonight against the Los Angeles Rams. They can play with anybody, and that's why, as bad as the season has looked at times, it's not so far-fetched to think that they can't get hot at just the right time, and anything can happen. They just got to get in first. And that game next week against the Philadelphia Eagles obviously is a big start.
Just that. Just get in first, and then you should be all set. All right, Nick, do you think NFC frontrunners should be dreading the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs?
No. I'd be the opposite of that, licking my chops. I'd be excited to play them. The Cowboys or Eagles, whoever wins this just mess of a division, is going to be the worst team in the postseason, neck and neck with whomever the last wild card out of the AFC is. Because if Pittsburgh might get in, and if Pittsburgh with Duck Hodges or Mason Rudolph's the quarterback, then you could argue, an eye test. But of the 12 teams that gets in, Dallas, if they get in, is either going to be the 11th or 12th. You want to play that team. You would rather have a bye if you're one of the top 4 teams in the NFC. The next best thing is going to Dallas and whooping up on this football team. I heard what Troy said, which is peaking at the right time. Well, define peaking, because they were at the nadir. They were at the ultimate low point of their season the day before the Rams game, coming off 3 straight losses, where against New England, I didn't think they played that poorly, actually, against New England. The offense couldn't get anything going. They had the ridiculous tripping calls go against them, but who cares about it, because it actually benefited the Patriots, so let's not have a officiating controversy. And then, but Jerry Jones was angry about that game. And then he really should have been angry about the Bills game on Thanksgiving and should have been livid about the Bears game the following Thursday. You had 10 days to prepare for another team that I think was a little fraudulent, the Rams, that everyone's like, oh, are they peaking now? No, they are who they were through the first 12 weeks. The Cowboys are who they've been, Danny, through 14 weeks. A team with immense talent that has underachieved consistently, that's had 6 opportunities to put it all together against a good team, and has done it precisely once. In order for them to go on this run, they would have to do it again next week against Philly, and then again in the wild card weekend against either San Francisco or Seattle. It's not going to happen.
You make some excellent points. But you are crazy. You're crazy. Tell me a coach that would say, we're excited about having the opportunity to stop the #1 ranked offense yards per game, the #1 ranked offense yards per play, the #2 passing offense, the 3rd best on first on 3rd downs. This offense is scary. Now, I get what you're saying, but and that's a big if they continue this momentum, and I might sound like I'm talking about both sides of my mouth because I kind of like the Eagles with the points, but if they somehow win the division and they play well these last 2 games, I guarantee you nobody wants to go to Dallas to face the type of weapons they have. They have a top-tier running back in Ezekiel Elliott. They have an MVP candidate. Remember at the beginning of the season, we were all in on Dak Prescott, who can make plays with his legs. He does present some problems. Amari Cooper is a top 5 wide receiver in in the NFL as far as what the threat is to what he can do to you, that is a scary proposition. And oh, by the way, their defense is top 10 in a lot of categories. Coaches would be dreading having to go on the road to face that team.
All right, so let's look at the 8 teams that we believe, let's just assume Dallas wins the division, are going to be division winners. You have Baltimore, New England, Houston, Kansas City, Dallas, New Orleans, Green Bay, and Seattle, right? So those are 8 division winners. Let's just pretend the playoff format was the best team that doesn't win a division gets to pick which place they go to.
Right.
So San Francisco, you can pick of those 8.
Right.
Guess what their top pick is? Dallas.
But all right, so here, let's put it this way. But here,
of all the teams you could face, Dallas is the one you want to.
But put it this way: if they, do you think they would beat? I don't think that. I think if it was the Eagles, they would say, "Sign us up. Let's go. We'll go to the Philadelphia. We don't care." I think with the Cowboys, they're more nervous, saying, "Man, we're getting screwed by the system," because